Welcome on in here to Wager Talk Extra. And if you're wondering, you have your subscribe on. So you got the bell and it said Wager Talk Extra on a Monday. Your week's going to be all screwed up. Well, we got a special edition for you here on Monday of Masters Week. We wanted to get the info to you right away. It's like an impromptu tea time edition that we have here for you. I'm your host, Dan Alexander, alongside our great guest each and every week, reminding you that no matter what sport you're cashing on, that money is all going to spend the same. And sometimes I'll mention how green that money is. It's apropos on Masters Week. Maybe some green jacket talk that we'll be having with two of the best, one of them from Wager Talk and Andy Lang, and Nick Borrman going to give his thoughts on the Masters as well to shut down the show. But let's get right into it with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Andy Lang. And Andy, I mean, golf is one of the reasons why you are here at Wager Talk. So as one of our favorite golf handicappers and one of the best at Wager Talk, I know you get amped up when the Masters rolls around. It's one of the biggest sports events of the sports calendar. So I guess let's just start. There's a lot of casual golf fans like myself who will be looking for actionable info. So why don't we just start as far as the tournament goes, as far as the course goes, maybe just a little Cliff Notes overview that you have for the folks.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into some very specific bets and props that you can do. But before we do that, it's just kind of important to know a little bit about this course and the tournament. It's the cleanest, best kept golf course on the planet. It's always in perfect shape. Right off the bat, you have to be very careful about the weather at Augusta. And the weather looks like it's going to be a problem this week. It's going to be very wet. There's going to be rain. Hopefully, there's not too much during the tournament, but it could get a little bit windy. So before you put in the bets, make sure that you're looking at the weather and make sure you're looking at the tee times of the golfers you want to bet on. Make sure that they're not going to be playing in the worst weather on Thursday or Friday. It's so important, yet people forget to do this. So I cannot stress enough, take a look at the weather and see what it's going to be like. So how's the weather going to affect the overall course? Well, they do this fun thing where they infamously they mow the grass so that the blades are facing against you when you drive the ball. So when you drive the ball, you don't get a lot of run after the ball lands. Well, now you add rain, and now this place is going to play very long. It's important to make your birdies on par fives, but with the length of the course, it's been lengthened over the years, and now with really soft conditions, these par fives and par fours are going to play a little bit longer than they're used to. So you're going to have to take advantage of the par fives. There are so many holes, Dan, that par is a great score. Sometimes just take your medicine, eat a bogey if you have to, take a par, but you have to be so patient, and that's what makes this course so much fun. There'll be a stretch of like 3 holes in a row where you'll be happy to get out of there with 3, and then the next hole you got to get a birdie because it's a par 5. So it tests your patience. Every facet of the game is important. You cannot overpower this course. Your short game has to be dialed in. And when you see it on TV, one thing that just you can't possibly understand unless you've been there in person is how many hills there are at this place and the contours of the greens. I mean, the greens, there are so many left to right and right to left putts. Experience is key at the Masters. That's why you see debutantes struggle quite a bit. Will Zalatoris is one of the exceptions, but when some of these guys are playing the Masters for the first time, it's just brutal because you can't wrap your head around how different and big the hills are compared to every other place. There's a little bit of water on the back nine, and the pressure is unlike any other, Dan. We've seen guys in the lead fall apart. We've seen guys trying to chase down the leader fall apart. We've seen guys fall apart on the first hole. It's the most unique golf tournament of the year. It's really interesting, and course history is really important. Picking long shots is very difficult with here. Come Sunday, the leaderboard is going to be full of the biggest names. It happens every year. So we're looking for big names. We have tons of storylines to get to. The live guys are making their return, so you're going to see Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Cam Smith, and all the other live guys are coming back. Tensions may be a little bit high, so it's going to be interesting to see how those guys play. And then, of course, you've got Tiger, the GOAT. Tiger, can he make the cut? Can he make a little bit of a run? The galleries around Tiger are going to be insane this week. It's an amazing tournament. The TV coverage is great. The online coverage is fantastic. If you go to masters.com, you can watch every shot of every golfer. It's the only tournament that they do this for. So if you have a bet on a guy, even though they're not on TV, you can watch literally every shot as it happened. So it's the best golf tournament of the year. And yes, this is my favorite week.
And you almost got through the whole tournament overview without mentioning Tiger, but it is obligatory. You have to mention Tiger because probably everyone and their grandmother, some way, somehow, is either going to be betting on him or fading him. Pretty much everyone who's betting this event, some way, somehow, will have some action on Tiger. So he slid it in there right at the end, but you Tiger fans out there, he did at least mention it. So Andy, let's get into how we love starting these golf previews, and none's bigger than what we do with the Masters here at Wager Talk and at Sports Memo. Players that can trip you up. You mentioned how some of these live guys are coming back, so I wonder, switching back, maybe the chirps that they're going to get, are any of them landing on your list? But who do you have up first?
Yeah, sometimes knowing who to not bet on is more important than picking your guys on who to bet on. So this is one of the most popular segments that we do. So these are big name guys that are very high priced that I don't see them returning value. So we'll start with John Rahm, and we've been fading John Rahm, and it has been working. He is not on point. This is not the same level of player that he was to start the year. The last 30 days, he is only plus 0.6 total strokes gained. That's terrible. And it's his tee to green and driving accuracy that's the culprit. His putting has been getting him out of some bad situations, but the last few events, his putting just hasn't been there. And this is a horrible course to play if your drives are not accurate and your tee to green is terrible. It's all about tee to green here and setting yourself up for manageable putts. He withdrew a few weeks ago with an illness, but he was 39th the previous week. He did not play well at the match play, and he finished 27th here last year. He's the second betting favorite, though. He's right behind Scotty Scheffler. So I have a guy who is the second highest betting favorite. His tee to green and his driving has gone away from him. There's no way he's going to return value. He's got to finish in the top three. His game is not that good right now. I would fade him with the likes of Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, but there's no chance I'll be having John Rahm in my DFS lineups or in any head-to-head matchup. Not with how he's playing right now. Next one, we're going to go Cameron Smith. And I have two Camerons in here. One is from the Live Tour, and Cameron Smith, he's finished 3rd, 10th, and 2nd here the last 3 years. Dan, I just can't buy anybody who is coming from the Live Tour. And not only is he coming from the Live Tour, he's playing bad on the Live Tour. He's like not even within 10 shots of the leader on the Live Tour. This is a no-cut league with small fields. This guy was in the zone when he was on the PGA Tour. I just don't think he has that edge. He jumped over to Live. It was a gigantic money grab. Congratulations. I just don't think he's that motivated. I mean, he's probably going to be motivated to try and beat some of the guys that he would consider rivals, but I just don't see how you regain that edge at the Masters just by turning it on when you've been playing so bad at a JV league. So he is maybe he's been saving himself for this week. I just don't think there's an on-off switch for the Masters. So he finished 24th at the last Live event. That's terrible. He's been way off the lead, and he's priced as a top 5 bettor or a top 5 golfer. So if you're a bettor and you want to invest in Cam Smith, you got to have him finish top 5 to return value. I don't buy any of these Live guys as being threats to win. I could be proven wrong, but no way I will be betting on Cameron Smith this week. And I mentioned the next Cameron. I'm going to look at Cameron Young. This is he's kind of the darling this week, the guy that everyone thinks they're really cute. I like Cameron Young this week. Well, a lot of people do. Why? Because he looked incredible at the match play. He made it into the finals by beating Rory McIlroy. That is a completely different format and a completely different tournament. Before the match play, he had one finish inside the top 20 at regular tournaments. That was a 10th at the Arnold Palmer. He's very inconsistent. He has really good stats, but when you look at it, he is through the roof on his driving stats, but his putting minus 0.1 this year. If he putts like that, he's going to miss the cut, and he did miss the cut last year. So his price this week is based off some recency bias because of how much publicity that match play event got, and he looked great there. It's not a regular tournament. I'm basing nothing off of that. I do not see any value in playing Cameron Young this week at the price that he's at. So those are the players that I think people are going to get tripped up by: John Rahm, Cameron Smith, and Cameron Young.
Two Cams and a John. Sounding like a horrible comedy movie from the 80s that no one ever saw because it's one of those B-roll ones. But those are the players that might just trip you up. Do you have any that you're maybe thinking shouldn't be thrown into any parlays, any lineups, or maybe just avoid it altogether? Hop below in the comments in our special Masters edition here of Wager Talk Extra and let us know who you're going to be fading heading in to this weekend. All right, Andy, let's get into some DraftKings Darlings. You can head over to Andy's page at wt.buzz/AL, and he's always dropping his DFS lineups so that you can see who he is eyeing, where he finds values, and he has three maybe to throw into your lineups right here for you.
Yeah, make that three Camerons. Let's start with Cameron Champ at 6,600 as the first DraftKings Darling. Dan, this is I don't understand this. This is one of the most confusing things. He's bad on the PGA Tour, but he loves playing here. He's played this tournament the last three times. He's finished 19th, 26th, and 10th. His stats coming into this tournament are terrible. He's missed the cut in three straight. He's 126 on tour and putting, and he's 196th in strokes gained approach to green. And yet, he has a better average finish the last 3 years than Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay, Max Homa, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, and Tony Finau. These are like the highest priced betting favorites, and Cameron Champ is better than all of them. I don't get it. I put him in my lineup last year. I played him to make the cut as well, and he delivered. It's just kind of one of those where you just hold your nose and do it again on a golfer who has terrible stats everywhere, but for whatever reason, he loves playing at the hardest tournament in the world. Cameron Champ is my first DraftKings Darling. Up next, Siwoo Kim at 7,400. He just offers great value because he continues to make cuts. He's made 7 out of 8 cuts this season. He's made cut 5 straight years at the Masters, and all of those finishes are inside the top 40. So at 7,400 on DraftKings, you get a guy that's made cuts this year. He likes playing here. His game is set up well, and he gets you some top 40 finishes. So if he makes the weekend and gets you a top 40 finish, this is a steal at 7,400. And this one is a little bit obvious. It actually kind of took some value out, but Corey Connors at 7,600. We lost some value on this because he won the tournament last week. So now I thought I was being sneaky and nobody will know about Corey Connors except he won. But he just loves playing here. Finishes of 10th, 8th, and 6th the last 3 years here. 3 top 10s, and we're getting him at 7,600. So he's won last week. He's finished top 10 the last 3 Masters. He might be the most confident guy in the field. It's a course that he loves. He's in really good form. So Corey Connors is my third DraftKings Darling. And as you mentioned, if you go to my page at WagerTalk.com, it's a free digital download. It's an article. It's got my full DraftKings lineup, all the players that can trip you up, and tons of info. It's free over at WagerTalk.com.
Love to see it, and I highly suggest checking Andy out over there. Andy, what you're really known for as well is a lot of these props. The prop market, you're the host of Prop It Up every Friday morning here on Wager Talk TV, where people can, as Steve Merrill so much loves to say, diversify their portfolio with prop betting. So before you get to put on the host hat and throw a little trivia game that we're going to do here for the folks, just talk to me a little bit about props, how you maybe bet them, and maybe something that you could potentially be eyeing, or how you maybe suggest people bet props heading on here into Masters weekend.
The props can be difficult this week just because there are so many of them. The books will put out tons of props because they know they're going to have a lot more people betting on the Masters that don't normally bet golf tournaments. So before you jump all into Tiger Woods props or, some of these other props that look too good to be true, make sure you're looking at the course history, tournament history, the weather, and how certain players have been playing in their current form. So here are a few props that I think are worth a little bit. The first is, will there be a hole-in-one? Minus 200 sounds like a lot for a hole-in-one. Hole-in-ones are tough. It's minus 200. Absolutely, we're playing the yes on this one. So they've had a hole-in-one in 2022, 2021, 2019, 2018, 17, and 16. The only year we didn't have one was 2020 recently, and that was the Masters that was in the fall. Complete outlier. The 16th hole, they set it up perfectly for a hole-in-one, especially on the last day. They put the hole where the green just funnels the ball right down to it. So there have been 34 holes-in-one ever at the Masters, but Dan, 10 have been in the last 7 years. So you're seeing these guys, better equipment, better golfers, and they're hitting this bet every single year. So sprinkle a little bit on -200 for, yes, there will be a hole-in-one. Another prop that I like is a group bet, the top former winner. And I'll take Scotty Scheffler at +160. I think this is worth a sprinkle. This is your defending champ. This is the #1 golfer in the world. And you're thinking, okay, well, former winner must be full of big names. And I got to tell you, some of these golfers are former winners do not scare me in this group. So we got to look at Jordan Spieth. He's in this group as well. Spieth is about as inconsistent as it gets. And he missed the cut last year at the Masters. They've played in 6 tournaments together. Scheffler is 5-0-1 head-to-head against Jordan Spieth. He doesn't scare me. Dustin Johnson is from the Live Tour. He was on the downside of his golf career, in my opinion, before he jumped over to Live. I don't think he's got that same edge. I think Scheffler is way better than Dustin Johnson right now. Hideki Matsuyama is a former winner. Hideki Matsuyama won this tournament because of the most fortunate weather delay in the history of golf. Right before Hideki had to play a majority of one of his rounds, they blew a weather delay, and he got to come out in the perfect, most pristine conditions to finish out his round. I don't want to say there was an asterisk next to him winning. A little bit of an asterisk next to him winning. And then you drop down to guys like Patrick Reed, Adam Scott, Tiger Woods, Bubba Watson, Danny Willett, Sergio Garcia, Phil Mickelson. I don't think these guys push Scotty Scheffler. You're going to have one of these guys have an absolutely heroic effort to beat Scheffler, or you'll have to have Scheffler kind of fall apart. But #1 player in the world, defending champion, I think Scheffler is there on Sunday in the final group, and I don't see any of these guys. So +160, great odds on that one. And of course, we got to do Tiger Woods. It would be it would be sacrilegious if we didn't do a Tiger Woods bet. And I'm betting against him, Dan. I'm not betting on Tiger Woods.
Andy.
So
Andy.
I know. I like money more than I like Tiger. What can I say? I'm going to take over 42.5 as his finishing position. So I think he's going to be worse than 42nd. So he played this tournament last year, and he made the cut. But you look at the scores of his rounds, and they went 71, 74, and then on the weekend, 78 and 78. Now, why is that? Well, Tiger is very open that he's fine hitting golf shots. Once he gets to the ball, he can hit the shot. And there's nobody that knows this course better than Tiger Woods. But his problem is the walking to get to the next shot. And this course is full of hills and terrain, and his body just breaks down. And now we add in that there's going to be rain and there's probably going to be wind. It just makes this really, really tough. He just missed this finishing position last year. He finished 47th, and that was with an incredible first round, and then he just fell apart. So if he didn't have that incredible first round, he was probably going to miss the cut. He played a tournament earlier this year, the Genesis. He finished 45th. So that is over the 42.5 mark. And to be honest, that field wasn't nearly as good as this field is. I don't see him breaking into the top 40. This is a really good price at -130, -135 to Tiger Woods to finish worse than 42.5.
Man, Andy, you're giving out gold here, and you can direct the Tiger fans, direct the hate below into the comments for Andy Lang. It helps the algorithm, so please drag Andy in the comments below, and make sure you go and check him out over at his page, because all joking aside, I mean, this guy knows golf. You want the short term? How about this season alone? 20 units up this year in betting golf action. And what you need the long term? How about the last 365 days in golf? #1 handicapper at WagerTalk in golf. So, Andy, I know you probably have something locked and loaded, a fat pack up for Masters weekend, because I can already tell from how long you and I have been chatting, you've been doing your research before this week ever even came near. So what do you have up for clients already, and what do you plan on having out as the week continues?
Yeah. If you're starting your research now, it's a little late. So we got to be
Oof.
ready for this. Yeah, we just have our Masters pack that's up, and it includes all of the plays for the Masters, and we will have all of our plays before they tee off. But we also will probably have some plays as the tournament progresses. There could be some really good value if the weather comes in and causes a disruption. Sometimes that gives us really good value to fade or support some better. So if you get the Masters pack, it'll include all the plays throughout the tournament. So we've done great at these elevated events this year with all the big names. We have a great track record in the majors, and last 365 days we're number one in golf profits on wagertalk.com. We're already up 20 units for the year, and we've never had a losing season since joining WagerTalk. So one of the sports that brought me to WagerTalk, and this week should be no different, looking for a lot of profits.
Absolutely. And Andy does a great job with us here on Wager Talk Extra, dropping gold for you each and every week, nearly each and every show. We have Andy on here breaking down golf, UFC, NASCAR. You never know what's going to be next. All right, Andy, before we went on air, you said you wanted to put the host hat on and do what you do on Friday mornings a little bit and grill me. So I don't know how actionable the info that we have, but everybody loves the Masters food. Everybody loves paying $1.50 for some sandwiches outside of the tickets you have to pay for. So how about a little concessions trivia? What do you got for me, man?
All right, Dan. You know my favorite show is The Price Is Right. So I've
Of
always
course.
wanted to host The Price Is Right. So here we go. I've got my skinny microphone. So I,
Well
I have
done.
4 questions. I have 4 questions that I'm going to ask you about the concessions here at the Masters. All right, question one, Dan. What costs more, a beer at the Masters or a 5% play on Wager Talk on Mondays? What costs
Beer at
more,
the
a beer at the
Masters.
Masters?
Oh, $9 Monday. That's a great
Okay,
question. That's a great question. I'm gonna have to say, the Wager Talk plays a little bit more. Is it $9?
a 5% play on Wager Talk is $9. Beers are only $5 at the Masters. So congratulations, Dan. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. One for
Eh,
one.
if I if I could do a quick comparison, I was at the U.S. Open a couple years ago, and I'm not kidding. The tall boy cans of Mick Ultra were $17. So
Absurd.
kidding
Absurd.
not,
I will
absolutely
I will
absurd.
say still the deal for $9 Monday is pretty damn badass. It might be a little bit more, but that's still pretty good. Typically he's gonna run you
It's
like
pretty awesome.
$35. So
Well, and with the 5% play, you can make money back. The beer is not going to beer's going to make you feel good, but you're not going to get
that's
any money
fair.
back
That's
coming
fair.
for it. All right, question two: what famous concession item at the Masters was not available last year because of quote supply chain issues? Was it the pecan caramel popcorn or the Georgia peach ice cream sandwich? So they said
You
supply
know,
chain issues. They could not have this item. It was the first time in decades, the pecan caramel
it
popcorn or the
sounds
Georgia
like
peach ice cream sandwich.
BS, but I think I read something about peaches being low in supply, Andy. So I'm gonna go with the Georgia peach sandwich for all. Thank you.
You are correct. It was the Georgia peach ice cream sandwich. Dan, you are 2 for 2. Uh,
Oh
it
man, I'm
was
good.
this was kind of back when when there were actual supply chain issues, but then kind of companies were using it as their excuse for everything. Just saying that you can't get ice cream or peaches when you're in Georgia where this tournament is kind of laughable. So there was a lot of eye rolling about, okay, no ice cream or peaches in Georgia, whatever. All right,
Well,
question
Andy,
three.
next time you go on a cold streak, just say you're having supply chain issues on winners, and then
No
just say
plays.
it's all that's happening. It's just supply chain issues. That's it.
My winners are sitting in the dock outside San
Yeah,
Francisco.
they'll be
Sorry,
here.
guys. They'll be here eventually. All right, question three. What concession item started being served in the 1940s by a married couple who just made them at home, went to the event, and sold them to people at the tournament for 25 cents? Is it the infamous pimento cheese sandwich or the infamous chicken salad sandwich? Which sandwich was
Oof.
started by a married couple who sold them for 25 cents in the 1940s?
Now, this is the first one I haven't really had an inkling on, so I'm going blind on this one. I feel like it's got to be the iconic pimento cheese. Like that's a pretty low rate for some chicken salad. There's some more ingredients that go in than pimento. So pimento, final answer, Bob.
3 for 3, Dan. You are correct.
They love
I
me.
hope I hope I have as many winners this week in the Masters as you have in this game. This is great. Yes, the pimento cheese sandwich married couple that lived nearby would make them and just started selling them for $0.25. The Masters loved the idea and confirmed with them that they just started selling them there using their recipe. So very, very cool tradition for the most infamous pimento cheese sandwich. Final question, Dan, there are 25 items at the Masters Concessions. If you wanted to buy one of everything, how much money would you need? You have to be within $10 without going over. So 25 items at the Masters Concession. You walk up and say, I want one of everything. And they say, all right, sir, that will be blank. How much money do you need for 25
All right, so I'm just going
items?
to round it off and say 25 of each. A lot of items that are going to be on the board are going to be around $1.50, maybe a little bit higher. So let's call it $2, $2.25. You're going to need about $47.50 if you want to get 25 items. I think that's a little low, though. Damn it. $47.50 is the answer.
You were so close, and you're right. It's just a touch low. $61 will get you one of everything. I think what tripped you up was there are 3 different types of beer, and all of them are $5. So there's $15 right there. But then all the coffee is $1.50. The pimento cheese sandwich is $1.50. But great job, Dan. 3 and 1. And I don't know why I'm still holding this. That's not a real microphone.
Yeah, the mic was awesome, Andy. The mic was awesome. I will say. I will say I love the props. The sound effects were great. I was ready, even though I wasn't ready. 3 and 1. I'll take it. And damn, it's always the beer that's going to – but the reasoning was sound. The reasoning was sound. All right, folks,
It was dead
that's
on.
enough of the concessions game trivia. You stuck around long enough. That means you get a free bet from Andy, and this is one that he absolutely loves. So I'm going to turn the mic over. It was worth the wait for this free play. What do you got for him, Andy?
Well, it's an annual bet here that has just been cashing, and it's Corey Connors to be the top Canadian. You have to lay a little bit of juice at -165. In my opinion, this is an absolute steal. He loves playing here, and we mentioned him in DraftKings Darlings. Top 10 the last 3 years, 10th, 8th, and 6th. He's coming off a win last week. And you got to look at the competition here. So let's take a look at the competition. We have Mike Weir, who's a former winner, very old. He's not going to be any competition. So now we're down to Mackenzie Hughes and Adam Svensson. And Mackenzie Hughes, he had a great finish at the match play, as predicted here on Wager Talk Extra, Dan. We actually said that Mackenzie Hughes was going to play good. That was match play. Regular tournaments, he has not finished inside the top 50 at a regular tournament this year. Last 2 years, he has played the Masters, but he's finished 40th and 50th. He doesn't offer much upside. I think Connors beats him easily. Svensson has some decent finishes this year. Biggest red flag, he's never played here. Debutantes typically struggle big time. So even though you're looking at Svensson and how he's been playing this year, no experience is no bueno for me. I just love the way Corey Connors plays here. Any decent finish should be good enough to be top Canadian. If he does a top 10 again and makes it 4 years in a row in a top 10, he's going to absolutely wipe these Canadians off the board. But I think he gets to a top 20, and that should be good enough to cash the best bet of Corey Connors being the top Canadian.
Man, if you're not ready for Masters weekend now, I don't know if you were listening to that. You got food options, you got best bet options, players that can trip you up, DraftKings Darlings, and for more, for the premium plays, which I highly suggest riding with, head to Andy Lang's page right this moment. Masters Prop Pack and Masters All Play Pack posted all in one, and you can grab that from Andy over at his page, wpt.buzz/AL. Definitely check that out and keep your eyes peeled for maybe some deals on the horizon. Stick around, though, because we got the Wager Talk experts' thoughts. We're going to get the SportsMemo's experts' thoughts. Nick Borrman shuts us down, talking his thoughts on Masters on a little tea time edition, a Monday Masters Week special here on Wager Talk Extra. Welcome on back here to Wager Talk Extra. I showed up to record an episode of Wager Talk Extra today, and an episode of Tea Time broke out because at the top we had Andy Lang, and up next we got the man himself, Nick Borrman, joining me. Always good to see you, Nick. And before we get into some outright plays, some top 10, top 20 plays that you have, we got to mention the fact that outrights have been the moneymaker for you, really, with your time since you've been handicapping golf, grabbing these outright winners. You already cashed 5 of them this season. So Masters weekend here, man. And before we talk about who you're looking at, just an overview. Andy gave us some thoughts on just how he thinks this course plays out, always cautioning people to check out the weather. I'm sure that's something you would agree with. Just your thoughts on how you bet the Masters heading into the biggest and most handled play all year long in golf action. How do you kind of attack betting this?
Yeah, the Masters is, I mean, obviously from a golfer, this is the week of the year. And from a handicapping
Yeah.
standpoint, it is the golf course that just consistently proves the same or shows the same guys near the top of the leaderboard year in year out. There's no better course correlation to past history than future success than really here at Augusta. It's just, it takes a lot of years to figure it out. And once you do, assuming you can, you tend to do it year in and year out again. So of any other course on the PGA Tour, this is the one where course history matters more than any other time of the year. And you'll see, looking at past results, that is 100% true. So you always got to look at past history. And yes, the weather. Right now there's rain Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'm trying to figure out, it's a little too early to tell, but trying to figure out if, depending on if you're going early or late on Thursday, if that's going to be a good thing compared to where you slot in for Friday. So you got to wait a little bit to the hourly forecast to see what it looks like Thursday and Friday. But there's definitely going to be rain this week, and it's going to play a big factor to the score. So wait maybe if you can a little bit later in the week to get into your bets. But aside from that, we're going to make some selections, hoping for the best on we get the right side of the draw if there is one.
Yeah, and absolutely. And you might as well just look at the radar. Don't listen to the weather prognosticators because they're guessing just as much as you. You know, you pull up the radar and take your own shots at maybe thinking how this weather is going to roll through there. All right, Nick, how about we take some shots on how we think this thing's going to shake out? You have a nice juicy outright winner to drop here for the folks, and this is a name that we've been hearing a little bit out of you recently.
Yeah, this is Max Homa. I'm going back to the Homa well. He is one of my 5 outright winners I've gotten this year. I hit him back in September at the Florida Net. And listen, he's moved himself, worked himself into the top 5 golfer in the world talk. And he's been performing at that level really all season. And you can go back, to past histories. I mentioned how much course history matters. Well, Homa would be the one guy that I would set that aside for. This is his 4th Masters teeing off ever. And Rich, while I mentioned the course history is important, he doesn't really have good, strong showings here. He's gotten 2 missed cuts and he's only had 1 finish of a tie for 48th. So it goes against what I opened up by saying, but you can't compare Max Homa of years past to Max Homa of now. And at some point, the way he's playing is going to transition to the majors, but he's proven to be one of the most consistent guys over the last 12 months. Dan, he ranks number 7 total strokes gained over the last year, has gained strokes on the field in 13 straight tournaments. The last time he lost strokes to the field was the last major, going back to the Open Championship last July. Of course, he's faced major-like fields, though, a lot already this year now with these new designated events. So he's played 5 of them, and he's finished in the top 10 5 times. And he's gotten, out of 8 events, which includes the 3 playoffs last year, he's getting in the top 10 5 times. So he's proven himself that he can hang with the best in the world. I'm going to back him up with the top 20 play for sure, just in case he's close, but no cigar type of a thing. But I think he's going to have a chance on Sunday. And if you back him up, like I said, with the top 10 or top 20, you're probably going to at least cover your outright. But I think he's going to be in contention. So I'm taking a shot at him, plus 3,200 right now at home.
32 to 1. You don't have to tell me too much to be sprinkling a little bit on that. That's Nick Borrman. Make sure you check him out at sportsmemo.com as he has picked up just shy of 35 units since September alone on this golf season. So big tournament, probably a big card coming up there. You already have anything locked and loaded that you've looked forward to, or are you kind of waiting for that weather to solidify a little bit, at least the forecast, before you start really firing and loading up your plays for your clients over at sportsmemo.com, Nick?
So good question. The beauty and the curse of the Masters is that these odds are out months in advance, right? And you can get guys, I'm seeing guys that have Jason Day at 90 to 1 when he's currently going off at like 25 to 1. So there are opportunities where you can take these majors way in advance, especially the Masters, and then you're just, you're holding a ticket, hopefully at a very good price, and you don't really give 2 craps about the weather. So I do have a couple plays. I didn't take them that far out in advance because it's not fair. Clients wouldn't have the chance to get the numbers like I just gave for Jason Day, but I do have a couple outrights already loaded, and I will have a 5% play in this pack this week as well.
Love to see it. All right, another thing that you've attacked, and a lot of the winners that you've gotten for those clients and for free right here on Wager Talk Extra has been in these top 10, top 20 markets. So you got one guy who you're eyeing to maybe round out both of those for you. Who are we looking at?
Yeah, hitting the outright is it's very difficult. Obviously, only one guy's going to do it each week. But the top 10 and top 20 markets, if you expect somebody to have a good week, it's a good thing to back up your outright with one of these leaderboard bets. And you're going to hear a lot about Jason Day. I just mentioned him, and rightfully so. He's a blast from the past that's been playing great. The other guy that is similar to that profile is Justin Rose. He's coming off a win at Pebble Beach just a couple months ago. He got a tie for 6 at the Players just last month, Dan. He hasn't been nearly as consistent as Jason Day. For example, he does have 2 missed cuts in his last 4 starts, which were at the elevated events to the Genesis and the Arnold Palmer Invitational. But his history at Augusta National is one of the strongest and most consistent you're going to find. Of course, I say that with the joke that he is coming off a missed cut last year, but throw that out the window. Before that, his finishes are incredible. In 15 starts before last year, he's only missed the cut once, and he's got 13 top 25 finishes out of 15 starts before last year. Of course, we're betting him top 20, so that number falls slightly to 10 top 20 finishes in his last 16 starts at Augusta, but there's no arguing the confidence he has here. He loves putting on bent grass greens. He's actually better than anyone else in the field, and he's gained the 5th most strokes putting over each of the last 2 Masters. So I got full confidence. He's hitting the ball well. He loves this place. If he has that flat stick rolling, even at all, he's going to be in the mix. Maybe he'll have a chance to win, but I definitely like him on that first or second page of the leaderboard on Sunday.
So, Nick, you're saying forget about the azaleas. We're going with Rose this weekend. Top 20, top 10. I had to. It was corny, but it needed to be done there, Nick.
That's a great
hey, always appreciate you coming on here, Nick. We love talking a little golf with you. Also, don't forget Nick's MLS plays that are loaded as well. I know it's an all Masters edition, but here on Wager Talk Extra, we like letting you know no matter what you're cashing on, it's spending all the same. So make sure you check him out at SportsMemo.com. That's going to do it for us. This is one of my favorite shows of the year because I, much like many of you probably watching, I only really dive in betting these golf plays outside of the blind plays I bet with these guys when the Masters roll around. Nothing like sitting on the couch this weekend and watching the best golfers at the most beautiful course that there is in Augusta. So looking forward to it. Let us know below in the comments who you're betting on. Who do you like? Who are you fading? And really, how much would you spend on that Masters menu? And if you are going to the event, let us know about that too. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss any of the great shows here at Wager Talk TV. And until next time on Wager Talk Extra, I'm your host, Dan Alexander, saying big thanks to Andy Lang, big thanks to Nick Borrman, big thanks to Eric doing a terrific job behind the scenes. And we'll see you Wednesday right here on Wager Talk Extra.